So it is the first day that's finally drawn to a close, and it's not really the way that I'd wanted it to all finish, because it has been a howling gangbuster of an afternoon. The rain came down like steroids, the wind has been whipping up the surf into a froth, and we haven't been able to do nearly as much filming as I hoped we were going to do. It's really taken a bit of a battering. So it leaves us with one day tomorrow. I think the day today has made me realise quite what you try and get out of a day on the Great Barrier Reef. In preparation for the expedition, it's not going to be quite as cut and dry as it seems to be. It's all very well writing an itinerary out, which would work fine as a land-based activity, because you could drive through the rain and you could do whatever you want. But being on the Great Barrier Reef, you are at Mother Nature's peril, and you can do things only when she says you can go. So if it rains too much and the wind is up, everything gets knocked back a bit, and that's really what's happened today. I think the training that I haven't been doing so far for the expedition is a little bit of a worry. I think I need to spend more time, certainly out in big open ocean swell, getting used to it. It looks a bit ominous today, saying that it is 40 knot winds that are being whipped up out there. It's the sort of conditions that during the expedition, if we get that sort of weather, we will be putting the kayak straight on board the support catamaran, and that will be sailing there. Again, probably under fairly scary conditions, just on the big boat, let alone on my one. So there is some training to be done still. It does commence the second weekend of March, and from then on it's going to be most weekends out on the water, doing some real open water testing and just trying to get out there and practice. I think the worst case scenario for tomorrow is going to be when I put my toe outside that door at 5:30 in the morning, that the wind is coming down still in the same sort of force that it's coming down in at the moment, and the rain is also pelting through the window. So that really would put a bit of a break on all that we're trying to achieve. It's not just about trying to get some nice photos, it's about trying to get a vignette filmed so that we can go out there and try and apply to sponsors and potential documentary makers. If I don't get that, it all takes a bit of a knock. The best case scenario would be that I think the one we're going to hope for is that there is no rain, but the wind is just about still there, because we need some wind to go sailing. We just want a bit of blue sky. We'd like some nice background just to show that the Great Barrier Reef is full of beautiful tropical desert islands. It was exciting to be able to get underwater for the first time with Richard and Christoph, the guys from Underwater Earth. It really has been great to finally do some on-the-water action with them, because we've talked at length on the phone. We speak 3 times a week. We speak on email probably 10 times a week, and we plan and we plan and we plan. But to get out there today, to get the scooters underwater, even though they're just mock-ups of the actual thing, the real things, it's great. It's good to see what we can do. It's good to see how manoeuvrable they are, how easy it is to track fish and other things with them. But it's also going to be interesting to see what the footage comes out like. It's going to be the most important thing from my perspective, is putting across great video, images and information about the Great Barrier Reef. And with the help of the Underwater Earth team, they're going to be the ones driving that, and they'll build a lot of content for the website. And when we talk about training and talk about the lack of training, the only way to get over that is to get out there and physically do it. Get out there on the water, get smashed around a bit, work out what breaks on the boat, work out what breaks on me as much as anything. And I think that first weekend that we get going across from Brisbane to Moreton Island to Tangalooma Resort in the middle of March is going to be one of those real opportunities to try out some of the ideas, try out some of the equipment that we're going to have, and get out on the water and start to really appreciate quite how, I think, vast the expedition is, the distances that are involved, the weather conditions that can get thrown up, and my ability as a sailor as much as anything. I've never really gone and done this before. It will be a baptism of very wet fire. I don't have any concerns about my body shutting down at any point during the expedition. I know that I can physically push myself beyond many limits that most people can get to in terms of physical and mental endurance. I've proved that to myself in the past. I know that I will be able to go out there and complete this expedition. I will be battle tired, I will be weary, I will be sore, and I will be potentially injured by the end of it. But this is all about adventure, about a voyage of discovery, and about having a bloody good time out in the Great Barrier Reef, and I will not fail to do that by the end of it. So the expedition itself is developing in so many different ways in terms of the logistics, the finances, the training, the sponsorship, everything is rolling along, but not quite as quickly as I would like it to. I don't think it ever can do. I've known from doing expeditions in the past that the last 2 months are the most crazy time of life. I have 3 months yesterday to go until the best expedition in the world kicks off from 1770. There is still lots to do with support vessels, skippers, logistics, provisioning, sponsorship, equipment, all of these different things, qualifications. There is so much to do, but it will be done, and I will guarantee you now that on that day when I leave 1770, it will be a fantastic, incredible experience for everybody out there to follow. There are lots of bases that I've covered with this expedition. I think having anything major that we've missed out on at this stage now would have been picked up by not by myself or my project manager Kayleen, but all the other people that are interested and involved in elements. There are lots of mentors from different parts of the industry that have got their own opinion on how to do things. And I think at this stage, if we'd missed something out, we'd be right up the creek without a paddle. Maybe not without a boat even. We would be really seriously in the mire. I think we've looked through a lot of the stuff. We have gone through it. We've realised that there are still some major things to do and achieve. But like I say, there is still time to do this. It will happen. If we get out in the water and realise that we've forgotten something incredibly important to the expedition, then we'll just do our best to get around it. I'm very excited about the expedition. I really am. It's one of those things that I've been thinking about now for 18 months. I've been planning hard for the last 12 months, and putting that sort of thought and effort down onto paper and in the form of work and emails and planning, you start to build up this nervous energy inside. I mean, I have bucket loads of this stuff anyway, and I think this just adds to that. I think getting successful parts of the expedition achieved, having sponsors come on board, sign on the dotted line, having chance to sit down with a skipper and work out logistics, having a successful day learning and getting out on the water to sail, they're all things that build up the emphasis on quite how enjoyable it's going to be, quite how hard it's going to be to get across the finish line, but also how hard it's going to be just to get to the start line. And I think the next 3 months are going to be very, very telling, both mentally and physically, but I know, damn it, I'm going to get there.